Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Memorial Day edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. I want to wish everyone a good and happy Memorial Day, regardless if you're at the lake, the beach, at home, whatever you may be doing. It's a good day out there for sure. We got a lot to talk about. We got JC here in just a second. We also have Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel join us before he heads off to destined for the SEC meetings. If you missed it last night, the Celtics win Game 7. They will now face the Warriors. You got a Game 7 in hockey tonight. And softball, for the 11th time in the school history, will head to OKC, face Oregon State Thursday at 7 o'clock. Baseball is hosting a regional. And I want to talk about the SEC baseball tournament. But first, let's bring in JC. Good morning, JC. Happy Memorial Day. What's happening, my man?
Yeah, happy Memorial Day to everybody. What I took from the last few days here, my man, was just how great it went for the baseball and softball teams. And certainly Memorial Day, we want to remember that for what it is. So I didn't mean to just brush off that. It's a very important holiday, and it's certainly starting the summer off for me anyway. But as far as the weekend goes, the last week, I just can't express how amazed I was at just how great the pitching was for the Gator baseball team, and just how great the performance was for the Gator softball team following that first game. You get Hannah Adams back in that lineup, and it really does help. It certainly changes, I think, something in that team. And watching what they did to Virginia Tech in games 2 and 3, the way they ran the bases, the speed that they have, is something that I just don't know if we've seen here in the last couple of months. And they executed offensively as well as I think they have all year at just the right time. And Coach Walton did a great job of coaching and putting the girls in the right spots in the position defensively, but just offensively, the way they put the pressure on Virginia Tech's defense was really something to behold. And I'm thrilled that they're the only SEC team to make it to Oklahoma City, the only SEC team to make it to Oklahoma City. And here we go again. And then you had the baseball team who just, what they were able to do to Alabama, Texas A&M, Arkansas, and the amount of time it took was something to behold as well. So, big praise for both teams, and this is going to be really fun now that they play their way into hosting a regional, hosting a regional, which we did not even think was remotely a possibility as recently as a couple weeks ago even. So congratulations to Coach O'Sullivan for getting his guys to respond, and the way they did in Hoover was, I thought, the story of the tournament. Now, granted, Tennessee is Tennessee, but the way Florida came in there and played their way into hosting a regional is something. So I'm very, very excited about that.
Yeah, we got a couple of Facebook Lives here sticking with softball. John says, I think the moment got too big for Va Tech. Coach Walton proved why he's one of the best coaches. Yeah, I wanted to touch on that. We all know that Virginia Tech has a stud in the circle. She kind of dominated us in Game 1. But Coach Walton and the staff made tremendous adjustments for Game 2 and obviously in Game 3. And it just goes to show you, JC, if your program knows how to win, you find ways to win games. And you're right. This is a different type of Florida softball team than he's had in the past. They used to have a bunch of mashers. Now they have speed on the base pass, timely hitting. But what they do is they play phenomenal defense. And if anybody watched Virginia Tech play, they look like the bad news bears sometimes in the field, not knowing, who has the better angle to call off a fly ball, things of these type of things. And those little things matter, especially in postseason play. But the damn Virginia Tech coach was driving me insane, JC, because their backup pitcher, who is a freshman stud, illegally pitched every pitch she threw. And then he wants to complain. And I tweeted that that's his fault. When you bring her into your program, your job is to teach the fundamentals. Hopefully she already has the fundamentals, but obviously her travel team or whatever, none of these illegal pitches were called. But every single pitch that she threw could have been called illegal. Now, they only called like 7 in game 2, but it drove me insane how this dude can come out there and argue that when it's against the rules. And that is on the coach.
I mean, I'm with you 100%. And I don't know what he saw or what his problem was, but above and beyond all that, the way the Gators forced Virginia Tech to be uncomfortable defensively with how aggressive they were on the bases, playing small ball, it's just artistry. It really is when you think about it, QB. I mean, they put Virginia Tech in a very uncomfortable spot with the way they were approaching, the offensive side of the game and scoring runs. And I still think you get a healthy Hannah Adams in there, and the team just seems to respond to everything that Coach Walton wants them to do. This is just one of those things where it's like a rite of passage for the Gator softball team. Going to Oklahoma City is just something that happens, and then what happens there happens there. But the fact that they're the only conference team to make it surprised me as well. I mean, Arkansas had Texas buried and dead, and yet Texas comes fighting back, and Arkansas's offense just went to sleep, dude. I mean, I was just stunned by that as well, because they played so well during the season, Arkansas did, and then they just fell asleep at the plate against the Texas team that I thought really was dead and buried. So anyway, it's a great story. I'm really pleased with the Gators. We're going to see UCLA and Oklahoma State, some of the usual characters out there. But who cares? If Florida can get base runners going, if they can use their speed and play that solid defense you talked about, you just never know, bro. This is college athletics.
No, and they're opening game, we got Oregon State, who was an unranked team, who surprised some people. So I like our draw. And like you said, just making it to OKC is the number one goal. It goes to show you that in baseball and softball, the seasons are so long that, I mean, you want to have a good year, but nothing matters until postseason play. Absolutely nothing. I mean, Arkansas wins the league, then wins the SEC tournament, and they're sitting at home.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears real quick. Andy has a Facebook Live brought to you by Metal Law. Says congrats to Ben Shelton as well, the 2022 men's tennis champ. Outstanding. And don't forget golf. Men's golf goes into round 4. I think they're in 8th place right now. They had a phenomenal day out in Scottsdale, Arizona yesterday. So good things happening in spring sports. Okay, let's switch gears to baseball. Okay, I know that the play of the Gators really helped us host a regional, which is outstanding. But the damn SEC baseball tournament might be the dumbest format I have ever seen in all of sports.
I know it is.
Can somebody? I'm not smart enough. Maybe you are, JC. Can somebody explain to me why day one is single elimination, then it goes to double elimination, then you get in the semis and it goes back to single elimination? I mean, we buried A&M in the the semifinals, but that was their only loss of the tournament. Shouldn't they have an opportunity to play? It just needs to be single elimination across the board. Don't you think? That way it won't last so damn long, because then you have guys pitching, and kudos, because those kids are on the roster, and it's great that they get the experience. But look at what happened. I don't know if you saw what happened in the Pac-12 tournament. Did you see the score of UCLA and Oregon State, JC?
Yeah, it was a football game.
Okay, so UCLA, I think they were playing Oregon State. UCLA was down 9 runs going into the 9th inning. They score 9. Yeah. They force extra innings. They win 27-25. Okay, it's because these teams don't have enough pitching to last and play these many games. I just think it's ridiculous.
I don't understand it either. I mean, I don't understand what the point is to drag this on for over a week when we've got real tournaments about to start this week. And, you know, give it to Tennessee. I mean, they decided to just go ahead and win it when they know everything in front of them has already been established. But what the tournament did do is give a team like Florida that opportunity to play itself into hosting a regional, which is what it did. But you are right. Why is it that you have a single elimination, then a double elimination, then a single elimination, and you've got something that's dragging on for it looked like a daycare center out there in the baseball field. I mean, you had kids running around out there in the outfield, and God bless them, let them do that, have fun, enjoy it, and there's nothing wrong with it. But dear Lord, single elimination the thing from the start to finish and get out of there on Thursday. You know, just get out of there on Wednesday or Thursday, whatever, because and for Florida, and thankfully for Florida, they didn't have to use, I mean, they only used 4 or 5 pitchers up until we got into the semifinals or whatever. And
we didn't use anybody that's going to be throwing after for the regionals that are happening this weekend. You know, people were talking about, why don't we throw Brandon Sproat, who pitched game 1, had a no-hitter through like 6 or 7. Nobody cares about the SEC tournament. That's what I have a friend who is a Tennessee Vol fan and diehard. And I'm like, nobody cares who wins this tournament. Yes, it will be great. Y'all will have a trophy, or the Gators will have a trophy sitting in the facility. But in the grand scheme of things, this tournament means nothing. We're not going to throw anybody that we're going to be counting on this weekend.
I think last year Mississippi State, you know, got blown out by Florida, and they head back to Starkville to get ready for something bigger, and they didn't care. I don't think that meant one thing to them when they were playing in Omaha. And this tournament, you can tell just by the lack of energy in the ballpark, QB. I mean, it's like watching minor league baseball somewhere in Peoria. I mean, not that the baseball is that poor. It's just that the tournament, I don't know. I mean, to me, it just, okay, great. Somebody won it. Now what? Or great, somebody lost it. Let's get out of here. I couldn't get out of here fast enough if I was thinking about this. So I guess it served a purpose for a team like the Gators who played their way into hosting a regional. That is true. But for Tennessee and Texas A&M, they already know what they're going to do. They know that they're going to be hosting a regional, that likely be a national seed and host a super regional if they win that. And that's where the focus should be, and that's what it will be going forward. But you're right, these conference tournaments are just goofy. They're goofy, and it's just kind of like a big waste of time. I don't even know if they make money. I really don't. So,
well, it looked like, I mean, I feel like Hoover, there was a lot of people there because Tennessee hasn't been relevant like they have been, and they brought some folks. Here's the other thing that drives me crazy. But I think the SEC network announcers are outstanding with Ben McDonald, DeLucci, Tom Hart, that whole crew. They're funny as hell. But what's funny to me is when these announcers like, well, Knoxville's 355 miles from Birmingham. They brought a lot of people. I guarantee you, out of all the people sitting in that stands, about 50 people were from Knoxville, Tennessee. They act like there's not alumni from around the Southeast that attend these events. So I don't know why that bothers me, but it does every time there's a telecast.
Well, no, okay, but Kiwi, I don't know how many games I sat and watched when it literally looked like there were more empty seats than people in them, especially in those night games during the week.
That was probably the 9:30 a.m. games.
Yeah, okay.
Well, they did have good attendance. So anyway,
okay.
Ruse Ogre State Farm office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visit ogreinsurance.com. Give them a call, 352-240-1779. Speaking with JC on the Titan MR hotline, we'll have Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel. get his thoughts on Gator sports and what's going to happen at the SEC meetings. He's heading that way today in Destin. Dan says they need to play in a dome stadium. Well, probably, but there ain't any dome stadiums in the Southeast for baseball.
No,
there's only one.
The only one I know of is in Tampa, and that's down in St. Pete. I mean, they can't even draw for the Rays down there. So, look, I'm just glad that tournament is now behind us, and we've got some. Today I think is the selection stuff, right? I mean, don't we find out today? Yeah, so I'm going to watch that. I'm tuning into that. Yeah.
Andy says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Metal Law, JC wants the kids in their seats and to be seen and not heard. Reminds me of my childhood. JC, you had a problem with those kids up there playing ball out, throwing and catching out in the outfield?
No, I don't want to be the old man, get off my yard guy. I'm not saying that. And I think it is good and healthy that these kids are running around. I mean, I'm not saying that either. But maybe what I am saying is that it just seemed like, to me, that we were just watching baseball, but we were also, it seemed like a carnival event out there. And I guess that's fine. Now, I think Andy's right. I agree with Andy. I mean, I shouldn't be so cranky about that.
JC, let's put it this way. Let's put it this way.
All right.
If your kids were still around 9 or 10 years old and you had traveled to Birmingham, you'd want those jokers out in the outfield not bothering you.
10,000%. I mean, and listen, I was the guy who said, one of the guys who said, man, I kind of like the way they set it up here at Florida with everybody sitting out there on the grass. Everybody's having a good time out there in the outfield or down the foul lines, right? I mean, I think that is very good.
Dan says JC drops his kids off at Publix while he goes and plays golf.
Yeah. No, my kids were always running around. I didn't even know where they were half the time, and that was fine with me. I mean, that's how I was when I was growing up. So
Dan also asked here, or he asked if I was going to the College World Series. I am not. I've been twice, Dan. And I believe Tim Walton has banned me from going. At both times that I went, we lost in the championship series to Washington and Arizona State. So I would love to go, but I've been bad luck every time I go.
Well, it's a great event. If you've never gone, folks, make a trip once in a while. Hope that Oklahoma is not there, and
that will never happen.
You will. Well, I know the way they've got that machine going, but there are two teams in the field that beat Oklahoma this year. Okay, there are two. So one game, anything can happen in one game, anything. And Oklahoma State and Texas are going to go up there and they're going to try to win it. Obviously, expect to win it, but I just think it's Oklahoma's to lose. I do think UCLA is very good. They kind of remind me of Florida a little bit with their speed and the way they put pressure on the defense and make them play defense. So I think UCLA could be a team to keep your eye on for sure.
John says he's been twice to OKC, and he went both times we won it, in 14 and 15. Rick asked here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mountain Law, speaking of Publix, how is JC's weight?
Oh, well, Rick, thank you for asking that. I haven't gotten on the scale. I have a feeling I've regressed a little bit this weekend, so I've got to get back on track. It's great to have
friends. But JC, you have like 2 days.
I know, but it's just that when you have friends that like to cook for you, and say, hey, don't worry about it, I'll pay. And then everything's in front of you. It's hard to be disciplined. I've got to regain discipline after this Memorial Day weekend. I've got one more day.
But don't you have till June 1st to be at what'd you say, 190 pounds?
Did I say that? No, I did not say 190 pounds. I said I'd lose 10 pounds or something like that. Didn't I say that? Get down to 199 pounds. Yeah. Well, I'm pushing back that schedule at least a week or two.
Okay.
So we'll do that. Yeah.
All right, JC, real quick, let's let's talk about the NBA Finals. I actually fell asleep, believe it or not, last night and missed the fourth quarter. But Al Horford, finally in his 15th year, makes it to the Finals. Should be a heck of a series against the Celtics and the Warriors.
I think the Celtics give the Warriors a little bit more problems than the Heat would have. But I think Boston is, there's something about this team. They like to do everything the hard way. One of the funny quotes I heard from Jaylen Brown last night as I watched the postgame show was how he hated that team always has to find the most difficult path to get to where they're going. But he loves it that they find it. And but I'll tell you, you are looking at a series where there's one team that's going to have literally over 10 days off. Another team's going to have 3 days off and have to travel across the country. So I think you're looking at a very entertaining series. I think the ratings are going to be great. I think this is what the league was praying for, and they got it. So you've got star power everywhere on the court. And, it kind of reminds me a little bit, but not totally, but a little bit of when the Celtics and Lakers used to battle. And they used to, travel across the country, East versus West. And you got two iconic organizations. And since the arrival of Steph Curry, the Warriors have certainly put themselves in a position to be called an iconic organization. So maybe not to the extent of the Lakers or the Celtics, but certainly they have in modern day been the team to watch. And when they were healthy, of course, when Klay Thompson got hurt, they slipped a little bit, but they're back. And got all the, Draymond Green, Steph Curry, all the usual characters up against a team that's probably been the best team in the league since January.
Yeah, it should be a heck of a series. Let's see here. John says, don't forget Chios is in the finals too. Yeah, does he dress for the Warriors? I'm not sure if he does or not, but Dan says Horford gets $5 million for making the finals and another $7 million for winning the title. So he'll be playing hard.
Well,
he'll be playing real hard.
That is great. Yeah. Great incentive contract right there. Jeez.
Got a text on the Titan Mark text line from Jim. Jim says, hey, Shane, speaking of facilities, did you happen to see the new OU softball facility they are building? I did. JC, because what they play in like a dump right now. You should see this damn softball stadium they're building. Holy man. I think it's like $75 million.
Well, I think Joe Castiglione recognizes that he's got the Nick Saban of college softball sitting in that office across from him, and she deserves that. And what they've done is exemplary. I mean, they're the gold standard of softball, QB. But what I think surprises me more than anything is how an so-called iconic program out in the West Coast in the Pac-12 plays in something that reminds me of what they may have over here at Buchholz High School. I mean,
that's exactly what
have you seen UCLA's place?
Their baseball stadium stinks too. It looks like you go to a local recreational park.
That's just the opposite of what you're seeing. The money that these television contracts and what these schools are receiving be reinvested into their athletic programs, not just the football. Because you're seeing, like you said, this expenditure for Oklahoma softball, but it's a dynasty. Why wouldn't you do that? You want to keep winning, then keep it going. And I think that's a great attribute to the coach and the staff that runs that program. And look at Florida. I mean, look at that stadium that they have now. So this is great stuff. Texas A&M, they're going to put money into their stuff. And so
speaking of that,
I love it.
Speaking of A&M, when I was watching a lot of the crazy, dumb SEC baseball tournament this weekend. They have one of the state-of-the-art baseball facilities. They are putting $30 million into Bluebell Ballpark or whatever it's called, which is one of the best in the country. $30 million just in the outfield experience, meaning condos. Maybe Duty Noble outfield. I don't know, but can you imagine $30 million that they're just going to add to the outfield experience? Those Aggies got money, bro. They got so much money.
The oil. Well, the oil's flowing. I mean, look at what's going on. But it was well before that. And hats off to the administration in Starkville for making that commitment before they won the national title and getting that experience that everybody talks about now, that everybody else wants. And, I love seeing it because I think these spring sports, these kids that participate in these spring sports care just as much than any football player. I mean, they do. They want it just as badly. And when you see a guy like Ben Shelton, a sophomore, go out there and win a national title in a men's tennis league, I mean, NCAA men's tennis is not something we really talk that much about, but men's tennis and the men's tennis.
You call it the men's tennis league.
No, I didn't mean the men's tennis league, the NCAA men's tennis. But when you see him playing and you see what it means to him to win it, it's just as exciting for him as anything we watch on TV, and we never watch this other stuff. And I just think it's great that the dollars are being spread out and invested in these other programs because they do matter, even though they're not big revenue generators. They matter to the families that are involved. And that's, not everybody can spawn a college football All-American, all right? And it's just great. It's just great to see. I like the investment.
All right, JC, before we let you go, two topics I want to touch. Before we switch to PGA Tour golf, I want to get your thoughts. The so-called experts think this Tennessee baseball team is the greatest assembled college baseball team of all time. The more I watch them play, it's crazy how good they are. And these dudes play with a swagger now. I know a lot of fans don't like it. They're bat flipping. They're putting their fur coats on. They're doing this. They're doing that.
I love it.
But damn, they're good.
I love it, QB. I mean, I love it. Let's get some personality in there. I love the coach. I think the fans have the expectations now that getting to Omaha won't be enough. It's about winning the whole damn thing now. And if the SEC can go back-to-back, winning the national championship in college baseball, I love that. Tennessee needs a championship in something, so that would be good for their school. And then you'll see the dollars pour into that baseball program and what have you. I think this team, we'll see if they're the greatest ever because they have to win to be called that. They have to win a championship to be called that. So we'll see if it happens.
Yeah. On the PGA Tour, Sam Burns, the LSU Tiger, shoots 65, goes into the clubhouse for over 2.5 hours, and then gets in a playoff with Scotty Scheffler and rolls in a long one on 18 to win. Were you surprised that Scotty Scheffler played the way he did yesterday?
Well, the QB, you missed it, but I picked him on Wednesday. So I was not surprised.
Scotty Scheffler?
I picked Scheffler on Wednesday's show.
I mean, okay, let's go out on a limb. Let's pick the number one player in the world who's won more times. Let me ask you this. If he would have won yesterday, would it have been his 5th or 6th win on tour this year?
I think it would have been his 5th. And he's certainly right now the player of the year. But since winning the Masters, he's been away, kind of regrouping and getting things ready to go and make a run at the U.S. Open. He didn't even make the cut at the PGA, QB. So, I mean, the reason I took him was because obviously the course at Colonial in Fort Worth, very, very tight course.
76 there, JC. I shot 76 back in about 2000.
Ooh, wow. Well, what is it? Ben Hogan's course or Sam Smith's course?
It ain't real long, though. It's short. It's tight.
Yeah, it's short. It's tight, but it's still one of the events that a lot of the guys love playing. And look, Scheffler is tuning himself up for, the U.S. Open in 2 weeks. So certainly, he's player of the year right now.
There's no question. Dan says they can do another 30 for 30 like they did Mississippi State's greatest team to not win the title. I know a lot of Gator fans do not want Tennessee to win it, but boy, they are good, and you can't.
But help me understand that, QB. Help me understand. Why would you rather have somebody else than an SEC team win something like that? What is it? Just because you don't want your rival in the conference to win? Wouldn't you rather see Tennessee win it than say
Oregon State?
Yeah,
I would. I'm an SEC homer, but I know a lot of the Gator Nation. They do not want to see any other SEC foe win anything.
Well, that's just not realistic. This conference is too good in everything, right? I mean, it's too good in everything. You got to be realistic about it. I always root for the SEC team. I could not care less about the Oregon State Beavers or the Indiana Hoosiers or the North Carolina Tar Heels. I want the guys that you get to compete against to win. That's who I'm rooting for. So.
All right. So, all right, we're going to let you go, JC. We're going to get Edgar here, but real quick, who wins game 7 tonight in hockey?
Tonight, this series has clearly been the home team. They've won every game in the series. I don't know why that would change, but something is telling me the Rangers are going to do it because they have the better goaltender. So I'm going to take the upset. Carolina has won every game they've played at home, but New York has the better goaltender. So I think the Rangers pick them off.
You're a big fan of Shesterkin?
Igor, baby. Igor Shesterkin.
Pronounce his last name.
Shesterkin.
It's Shesterkin.
Shesterkin. Igor Shesterkin.
All right. Well, I know you'll have his sweater on tonight while you watch the game. All right, JC. We'll talk to you on Wednesday, my man. Have a great Memorial Day.
Okay. All right. You too. Bye-bye.
That's JC. Join us on the Titan MR Hotline. Going to take a quick time out. Come back. Get the thoughts of Edgar Thompson on Gator Athletics before he heads to Destin in his bikini. Well, no, he won't be wearing a bikini. Hopefully not. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Weeby Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Ironwood Golf Course, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Pro football legend Emmitt Smith understands your joint pain.
It does not surprise me that there are a ton of people out there that's in pain.
That's why Emmitt is such a proponent of QC Kinetics, offering real lasting joint pain relief with non-surgical, all-natural biologic treatments.
Whether it's a joint pain, ankle pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, hip pain, any kind of pain, the body eventually will break down when it's under that much stress.
That stress can cloud your judgment to the point that you'll just say yes to the scalpel or yes to another prescription of pain pills. But maybe it's time for a second opinion from QC Kinetics.
The reason why I would recommend this is because the natural biologics that QC Kinetics is providing you gives your body a chance to naturally heal itself.
Restorative, regenerative solutions are here. Get lasting relief and live your life.
Call QC Kinetics 352-400-4550. That's 352-400-4550. QC Kinetics 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Celebration Points, where the Gators go to celebrate premium brands like Visor's Rooftop, Dave & Buster's, Regal Cinemas, Hotel Indigo, Sensei Asian Bistro, Escape Apology, and the HBC Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, where every Tuesday you can enjoy 50% off handcrafted martinis from 4 to 10. We'll see you at Celebration Point, where the Gators go to celebrate. For now, we're going to go to the Titan MR Hotline. We're going to be joined by Edgar Thompson from the Orlando Sentinel, who's gearing up for his trip to Destin for the SEC meetings. Good morning, Edgar. How are you, my man?
Hey, Shane. Nice seeing you. It's been a while.
Yes, it has. Let's start first with some Gator stuff, and then I'm a huge softball guy. I just think Tim Walton, his staff, and obviously give credit to the girls, but they just out-coached which I tweeted. I don't even know the coach of Virginia Tech, but I called him a moron because he doesn't know the rules. But boy, what a series for the Lady Gators.
Tim Walton, I mean, Mike Holloway probably plants the flag in the ground as the best coach on campus, at least most accomplished. But Tim is very impressive. I went out, 2 weeks ago this week and spoke to him for a while and wrote a big feature on just that he'd won his 1,000th, but just kind of what his method is, and spoke to a couple of his former players, Francesca, Anaya, if that's how you say her name, Anaya, and because she's married to Christian Brue, who used to be a young reporter up here, TV guy. He's in Orlando now. And then I spoke to Amanda Lorenz, who's like the best hitter, my Lord. She was unreal. And their thing is like, man, he's gruff and he comes across like a hard ass and he's always got the 5 o'clock shadow and all that going. But he is a real player, cares about his players, man. And I know it's cliche, but that goes a long way, man. I mean, he goes the extra mile for these girls. I mean, he's very, very powerful force in their lives. And they play hard for him. And this team did not play well at times this year at all. And now it's just red hot. I mean, it's 6 games, it's outscored opponents 47-10 in the NCAA tournament. Just rolling right now. And now it's got a pretty easy bracket. I think Arizona, Oregon State are on that side. They're not ranked. Oklahoma State's 7th seed. Gators got to be playing as well as them. So the Gators could make some hay out there.
Yeah, Joseph says on Facebook Live, what Tim has done with the team sport is more impressive to me than Holloway. Nothing against track, but that's more of an individual sport. I mean, regardless, it's phenomenal what both have done. I know Tim extremely well. I agree. He's very structured. He can be a hard ass, but if you watch and you look on Twitter at the tweets from his former players, about what he does in postseason play, it just goes to show you it's no different. Coach Spurrier always said, if you're a good coach and you have a good relationship with your players, they'll want to hang out with you when everybody's old. And you can't find a former player that doesn't want to hang out with the HBC. And I think that's the same way with Tim Walton. So I am so excited for them. Getting back to OKC, you're right. They have a very good chance out there. Baseball. Edgar, please explain to me. I just talked to JC. I watched a lot of baseball. I watched a lot of diamond sports this weekend. The SEC baseball tournament is the dumbest format in all of sports, in my opinion. Why don't you play a single elimination, then it turns into double elimination, and then, I mean, look at A&M. They lose to us in the semis, but they only had 1 loss because it went back to single elimination. I just don't understand it.
I don't purport to figure that out either. It is a bizarre format. I tell you, it's funny. I'm more into softball than baseball and have been for about 30 years. I lived in New Mexico, and so Chelsea Sakisi, you remember her? This first stud softball player the Gators had. Do you know what I'm talking about? Chelsea Sakisi, the pitcher?
Absolutely.
All right, Chelsea Sakisi was a freshman at Farmington High School in New Mexico. I'm in Albuquerque in 1992, I think, covering a tournament with West Mesa, which was a really good softball team. I mean, it was an all-star cast. Sakisi, blustery March day, overcast, cold, threw a perfect game, 10-0, 5 innings, 15 strikeouts, struck out everyone she faced. Wow. It was like, it was awesome. And it was like, I just got hooked on the sport, man. I've always dug it. It's a cool sport. It's fast. The games don't last as long. That's part of it. But it's just a fast moving game. And I get people, that's boring. It wasn't boring to watch that. But when the ball's in play, man, these young women make plays. It's just like boom, boom. I mean, everything's like a double play. I mean, you got to be that quick with the ball. So it's very precise. It's an acquired taste maybe, but I strongly encourage people to get into it. And ESPN does a fantastic job with the Women's College World Series. I mean, they have turned that sport into something that's very popular, I think.
It's unbelievable. It's one of the best sporting events I've ever been to, the World Series. John's got a Facebook.
Baseball. Sully's done a really good job. 16 of 20.
Oh, yeah. I was getting ready to get to that. I got this Facebook Live here by John, brought to you by Mel Law. He says, QB, what did you think of Tim Walton saying Skylar Wallace was the best player he'd ever coached? He's coached Kelsey Stewart, Hager, Lorenz, and others. That's a strong statement. What are your thoughts? It is a strong statement, but she is something else, man, with her speed, the way she plays defense, the way she hits. She's, they talk about a 5-tool player or whatever. She is clearly that. And we get her for another year. This is a young softball team. They only have like 2 or 3 seniors that start. So it goes back to Edgar, switching gears to baseball. People were all over Sully, about a month and a half ago. I personally feel like baseball is so long, same way with softball. Nothing matters until you get into postseason play. Look at the Arkansas Razorbacks. They win the league. They win the SEC tournament. They're sitting at home. The Gators were the 5 seed, I believe, going into the SEC tournament, 14 national seed. And now they're going to, they were 7. You're right. Now they're going to Oklahoma City. But give Sully credit. They're headed in the right direction. The bats have come alive. We'll see it today around noon who comes to Gainesville. But just talk a little bit about the baseball team.
Yeah, I mean, hosting a regional is that's kind of amazing. They weren't even in line for that. It didn't look like at all. Unranked for a good chunk of the season. And that's just unusual. Team comes in with huge expectations every year because of the name, honestly, and Sully's accomplishments and recruiting. But I think they had 9 out of 14 pitchers hadn't even thrown a pitch at the college level. So it was going to be a young team. It was going to be, and then they lose Barco. That's what I don't understand. You lose like your best pitcher and they're better suddenly or playing better. And then I'm thinking, soft schedule. Like you looked at the teams they were beating coming into the tournament. You're like, maybe this is camouflaging things because it's not the strong point of the schedule. But, they beat A&M when they got the chance the second time. Who else they beat? They beat someone else ranked, Arkansas, and 13, I think. And then, Tennessee did kind of jump on them. But then they fought back. Tennessee's good.
Very good. Very, very good.
But Sully's great. I mean, Jeremy Foley, Jeremy Foley's ability to hire Olympic sport coaches, I get it. People are upset about certain hires. We've certainly criticized some of his hires in football. Mike White was solid. It's tough to follow Donovan, but, they're better off, I think, moving on from that regime at this point. But his Olympic sports coaching hiring is like phenomenal. And we haven't even mentioned Brian Shelton. I mean, the guy's, won a title last year. His kid just won the national championship, back-to-back singles champions. I mean, that's impressive. It hadn't been done since the early 90s by Stanford, which is like a, tennis factory. So Holloway, Tim, Sully, I'm forgetting a lot of people. Jenny Rowland.
Yeah, so our spring sports are outstanding. Speaking of that, I know you're a big golfer, and
of course,
I'm so mad that the Golf Channel or somebody is not carrying the NCAA golf tournament out in Scottsdale. The Gators, I want to say we're sitting in 8th place right now.
They're 11th.
We're in 11th going into day 4. So explain to us real quick, if you know, the format. We have to be in the top 8 today to qualify?
Yeah, so the Gators, man, just got out of the gate just terribly. I'm looking at it right now. First round, shot 300. You take your best 4 scores, so that's averaging 75 if I can do math. That's not a good scoring average. It's the highest score of the top 15 right now in round 1. Rebounded 285 286 the next day. Very respectable, solid scores. 85 was among the best in round 2. 86 was okay. But they just stumbled out of the gate, and now they are sitting plus 31. So Arkansas is plus 26 in 8th place. So Florida's got to close the gap by 5 strokes to get in the top 8 to get to match play, which it's not done since the format started, I think, in 12-ish or 13, 12 maybe. Anyway, whatever year it started, it's been around about 10 years now. Then you get match play, then anything can happen. So, but if they're 8, they're going to have to play number 1 Oklahoma, or whoever Oklahoma State might be able to chase down Oklahoma. But anyway, the point being, the Gators making match play would be a huge step forward for JC Deacon's program. They need Ricky Castillo to show up. Look, Ricky is a supremely talented kid. He shot 81 in the first round, and then he shot 40 out yesterday, but he did come in at 34 with a birdie on his last hole. 520-yard par 4. That's a stout hole. But this birdie. But the point I'm making, he needs to show up. Fred Biondi has been fantastic. He shot 67 yesterday. He's been great all year. But John Dubois has been fantastic this year. He's an Orlando kid. He doubled the last hole. So it's like those are the margins that you're playing with. I know I just threw a bunch of people. But it's like you have 4 guys, and the 4 guys got to play well. And the Gators really are going to need their best day of the week to get into match play. And then anything can happen. This is a very talented team, very deep team. Yushin Lin, Biondi, Castillo, and Dubois. That's a stout top 4. And Wilkes is a good player too. So we'll have to see. But yeah, I didn't know that there's no coverage. It
is. I got these great listeners. Tony says on Facebook Live, golf is on the Golf Channel today and for the rest of the tournament.
I was thinking it probably started today because the weekend they got LPGA, today's the big day. You get in there, and then the match play is always televised. Yeah. And that's an 8-team deal. So
at Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. A few more minutes for Edgar Thompson before he hits the road. All right, you're heading to Destin today for the SEC meetings. Just kind of give us a thumbnail of what a reporter like yourself, what meetings you get to sit in on and things of that nature.
Well, we don't get to sit on anything. These are like closed-door meetings, coaches from football, men's basketball, women's basketball, top administrators, and they have plenty to discuss this year. This might be the most robust agenda I can remember. This will be my 12th SEC meeting. And usually you just kind of go and you're like, okay, what am I going to drum up? Well, it's going to be coming at us full force. First off, we get Jimbo and Nick squaring off in the octagon tomorrow for the first time since those comments were made a couple of weeks ago. It'll be interesting to see how those guys interact, if at all. We won't get a fly on the wall, and that one would be very interesting. But, you have the NIL stuff. They're trying to get a handle on this. It's caused so much chaos, and even the conflict we talked about with Jimbo. The transfer portal it's total free agency now. I don't know how you get a handle on any of that. Texas and Oklahoma are coming down the pike in 2025. You got to start planning ahead for those guys. You just can't just suddenly decide in 2024, okay, what are we doing with these guys? How are we going to make all the divisions work? If we're going to do divisions, pods, they might be eliminating all of that. You get the 2 best teams. What's the schedule going to be? People are talking 8 games. If you keep that, it'll be 7 rotating, 1 permanent. Florida would be Georgia. Personally, I think Scott prefers Strickland, the 6-3 model. You get 3 permanent, 6 rotating. Then that brings in who are the 3 permanents. I joked with them, hey, you get Alabama, Oklahoma, and Georgia, man, you're good. But truly, you would think it'd be Georgia, Tennessee, who would be the 3rd. So there's a lot this isn't all going to be hashed out this week, but they had 40 models of schedules, and they've gotten down to those 2, the 7-1, 6-3. And then the real radical thing, Pete Thamel reported last week from ESPN, and Scott was quoted in the story, which is why I got Scott last week on the phone. They were talking about this SEC only playoff, which I just think is posturing. I don't think that's any reality to that. But I think Greg Sankey was put off by the fact that he put all this time and energy into formulating this 12-team playoff system, and then they didn't vote it in. And he's like, all right, whatever. We'll just go play our own like little 8-team deal. And, they could do it. It'd be exciting. I think it'd be just too much. It'd be just limited to regional interest with a lot of people. And how do you leave out some of the programs? I mean, Lincoln Riley at USC, Mario down there at Miami, I think is going to put something together. Not to mention Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, if it continues its trend, Penn State. You can't leave those teams out of a playoff. Come on.
No. Edgar, we got a text from the Titan MR text line for you. It comes from Larry. Larry wants to know, hey, Edgar, when you're at this SEC meeting, do you have access to each head coach, or is it more in a setting where it's a press conference?
Well, so it used to be a free for all, and then it became just like we're lingering all over the hotel. We're waiting. We're trying to pull people off to the side. And the SEC, which didn't even really want us there at one point, has now turned it into a formalized thing. You get an invitation. They limit it. There are only about 30 media members, maybe 35 allowed. You get invited, and then they even structure press conferences. So I think Billy gets in tomorrow about 10:30. He'll be speaking probably about 11. We just got him, though, this past week at an event here in Gainesville. So I'm going to see what the national and other guys are asking him, and kind of curious how they're going to come at him. But it's a good event. I mean, this year, as I said, there's going to be a lot to write about. Or a lot to actually gather. I'm going to be gathering more than writing this week, probably, for future stories, because sometimes you get hunkered down, you start writing, you're missing guys. And there's all kinds of people. I mean, look, you get Don Staley, Kim Mulkey. I mean, these people are there too. These are big time people, man, that you want to talk to about, whatever it is. NIL for women, Title IX, 50-year anniversary. There's a lot of stories to mine this week. Kelly Ray Finley will be at her first, Todd Golden at his first, and Billy Napier at his first. So they're going to be rookies out there, and I'll be interested to hear their perspective on it when it's over.
Yeah, it should be interesting for sure. How many days does it last?
It's a 4-day event, but the coaches are there just Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'm going to stay just for that. Thursday's a slower day, but school presidents are there, administrators are there. I usually stay through the week, but Destin's figured it out. The hotel prices are absurd, and I got a meeting in Orlando anyway Friday, so I'm just going for a couple of days, but it should be more than enough, and I'm looking forward to it, man. It's always like I said, it's always you get stuff, but this year it's going to be coming in tidal waves, man.
2 questions real quick before we let you go on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melton Law. John says, Edgar, what are you saving up to ask Jimbo? And then Tim says, how's Brian Kelly doing on his Southern accent?
To be determined on Jimbo. Brian Kelly, man, he's never going to live that one down. He probably shouldn't. That was a pretty poor attempt, man. But, we can laugh at him all we want. Gators still have them on the schedule a few years. And I tell you, I thought that was a fantastic hire. And the SEC, man, it's just like you go out to an event like this, and I don't get starstruck and stuff, and I really won't. But everywhere you're going to turn this week is, oh, God, there's Brian Kelly or Calipari or Bruce Pearl. I mean, it's just a big-time deal. I mean, this is the preeminent conference in college sports, bar none, not even a close second, in my opinion.
That is true. Well, Edgar, we appreciate you taking the time before you hit the road. Have a safe trip. Enjoy the weather in Destin, one of my favorite places. I know you'll be working and can't enjoy the beach. But
well, we play golf every year, Mark Long and I, but he won't be there and I'll be leaving. But hopefully next year we can do that.
All right, Edgar. Appreciate it, buddy. Have a good trip. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
That's Edgar Thompson joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. Hope you enjoyed today's Memorial Day program. Hope you have a great Memorial Day, and we'll be back here tomorrow. Take care.
Trying to get the fans fired up. 2nd down and 10. Matthews rolling to his right, in trouble, can't find anyone. Now he throws it for Harrison Houston, who makes the catch. He's in the open field. Harrison to the 20. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators.
Thank you.